So prayers. Let's talk about prayers. Our prayers. Um how powerful are your prayers to God? Well, what's the most powerful object in the entire universe made by human beings? An atomic bomb? A nuclear bomb? Well, I think maybe those are the same bombs, but that's the only thing that I know of that's the most powerful weapon in the history of human creation. Yet, prayers are the definition of praying is communication, instant communication between man and God. And God, we all know, is unlimited power, has unlimited power. So he sure beats nuclear bombs. He's in fact, God the Father is so powerful that he can make himself more powerful if he wants to. There's nothing in the world that God cannot do. I mean, our human brains can't comprehend it, but you know, infinity is not even a number because it goes past any amount of number. Well, God is so powerful that his power goes beyond infinity. Even it goes beyond endlessness, I guess you can say. He's so powerful that it goes beyond endlessness. It goes way, way beyond. It goes infinitely beyond, infinitely beyond, infinitely beyond, infinitely beyond infinity, beyond infinity. I mean, that's how powerful God is. There's no limit to his power. I mean, just because, I mean, there's, in this world, we say there's a limit to, something's unlimited, just because we can't grasp of how much, it's like so powerful that we think that it has no limit to it, even that there is a stopping point of how powerful it is, right? Like a nuclear bomb or something like that. Or I mean, what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, I mean, some like you exaggerate. Well, in God's circumstance, in the circumstance of God, guess what? There's no exaggeration. God is so powerful that his power exceeds way beyond infinity. I mean, there's no limit to it. There is no limit to the power of God. His power goes beyond infinity, beyond infinity, beyond infinity, beyond. And infinity is not even a number because infinity is after numbers, as weird as it's like eternity. Well, God's power goes beyond eternity, beyond eternity. I'm sure God created eternity. Where was God before he created eternity? I know he created time, but eternity? That remains to be determined, but maybe, I know for sure eternity is God's time. There's no beginning of God. There's no end to God. Oh, that brain pain right there when I said there's no beginning of God, just to think that how, like, God has always been there, eternity in the past, or, if heaven, what was God doing before he created heaven? I know for sure at one time, since God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, there's no end, there's no beginning to them. They've always been there. The Trinity has always been there. But have they always been in heaven? Has heaven always been there? Or did God create heaven sometime. You know what I'm saying? Were they just floating in outer space? Not outer space, you know, because God is outside of time. But outer space is still within time. Think of outer space like this. I'm going to make this in a separate video after I mention this part. Outer space is our universe, right? Well, think of a box being our universe. Our universe is inside the box. Well, God lives on the outside of the box. God can step in the box when he wishes, and he can step on the outside of the box. On the outside of the box is eternity. Time is in the box. Eternity on the outside of the box. And the outside of the box is the domain of God, is where God lives, which is eternity. If you could get, there is, you know, that's a perfect example right there of being exaggerating about something that has so much power, or like something that's like so humongous that we think that it's unlimited, even though it's not. It does have a stopping point. Well, guess what? Outer space. Outer space is so massive, right? Outer space is so massive that we think it's unlimited, but it is limited. It's limited. It might take trillions and quadrillions and zillions of years, but that's still limitations. Is it like a huge amount of a limitation? Of course, obviously, yes. But it's still limited. It's not infinite, like eternity. But it's not humanly possible, obviously, to get on the outside of outer space, because since there's no gravity in space, we get pulled back. You know, we get pulled back to where we were before, you know. So, I mean, it's obviously impossible to get onto the outside of outer space. Not only because we float back because of no gravity being in space, but also because it would take trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of years to get on the outside of outer space. And we don't have there's no rocket ships or whatever that has enough, like, you know, enough power to get that far. And obviously the world's not going to be here that long, nor anybody can live that long. So who's going to be flying the aircraft, the spacecraft? Yeah, right? So, I mean, but God lives on the outside of the universe. So, don't forget, God created outer space. And we all think that outer space has no bottom. Well, guess what? It has a bottom. There is definitely a bottom to outer space. The reason why we think that it does not have a bottom is because of how massive outer space is. But it's not true to, a bottomless pit does not exist. There has to be a bottom of everything. It's just that when we try to go down in outer space like astronauts, we just float back up, you know. But yeah, there is a bottom in outer space. There is a bottom in outer space. Guess what the bottom is? Eternity. Because there's each direction, up, down, left, and right. Most likely, I'm sure, is ways to get onto the outside of outer space. So if you could keep going down and down and down, it would be like the same as going straight and straight and straight. So you would eventually get you would eventually go into eternity. But I mean, like, obviously, like I said, it's impossible. And not only will it take trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of years to get on the outside of outer space by going to downwards, you know. But even in outer space, there's no direction because you float all different directions. You know, you're like astronauts that walk on the moon. They're on the bottom of the moon. It feels like they're on the top of it, right? Or yeah, like my bad. My Xbox screen turned off. But, so yeah, I mean, I got a little carried away with the topic of this video, which is prayers. Are they more powerful than anything in the history of mankind? Yes, they are. Because it's a connection. It's a instant communication with mankind, not gender, mankind, race, humans, between you and us and God, the most powerful being in all of existence. Now, when I say existence, that does not, I'm not saying that God is the most powerful being to ever have been created, because obviously he was never created. I'm just saying, let me rephrase that. Maybe I should say God is the most powerful being in the history of all imagination. That makes sense, because it is. It's true. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and peace out.